Good morning. I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back, as the case may be. This is Egg, who is usually insists on being in my videos because she knows it distracts the living crap out of me. And uh, before I go too far, I would like to really encourage you to like or subscribe because if you do that little thing, and enough of you do that little thing, I get to monetize this channel. I'd like to do that at some point. I enjoy these, but it would be nice to get paid for talking. I like talking. Anyway, today I'm talking about emotions. And I think older folks get a bad rap of getting really impatient with younger people that are going through stuff. There's a reason why we're impatient, but we're honestly not impatient with you, the person who's going through that. We're impatient with the emotion and how long it takes to fade. Here's the deal, sunshine. Your elders know, whether they can actually express it, that you are not your emotions. One way to think about it is that life is a snow globe. Emotions are the snow, and you're that little person standing in the middle of that storm of emotions. Whether it's cutty or shiny or soft looking, what's swirling around for a little while is not the central point of the globe. That would be you. Emotions do exist, but they are not you. They're just torturing you or bringing you bliss, but that bliss isn't you either. Sorry. Our language has been constructed badly, in all honesty. You are not blissful. The emotion swirling around you is bliss. But we have a hard time knowing that because of the way we're taught to think about emotions or taught not to think about them. Look, when the snow globe of your life is shaken really, really hard, all that emotion obscures the you underneath it. And that swirling maelstrom of drama and anger and angst surrounding you at its worst is when it's shaken the hardest. It took me decades to figure that out. I figured out finally, though, that I could be the center of that swirling chaos without actually being the chaos of the emotions whirling around me. I learned to acknowledge what was there without making the storm even stronger. That impatient, wrinkly person who's telling you, get over it, forgets that they felt the same way and that they thought that they were always going to feel that way. There is so much emotional despair wrapped up in that sense that the grief is never going to go away. The anger and everything else that you're feeling will never go away. But it's actually not true. Unfortunately, it's not true for both positive emotions as well as negative emotions. You're not always going to feel blissfully happy, and you're not always going to feel like the world will never get any better. It will get better, and it will get worse, and it will do all the things. But if you hold on to the fact that you are not your emotions, you'll be able to simply stand still and let the storm break those gusts of pain and waves of grief and sorrow against you. You'll come out damp, but not destroyed, because you don't have to swirl and spin and fall with the storm. You can simply watch all those emotions eventually settle, and they always do. If you can hold on to that, you can avoid a whole lot of years of feeling helpless and out of control in the face of your own emotions. I'm not saying I have always been able to do this. There are certain things that happen that feel like they're just drowning me, and one of those is helplessness. It's my least favorite emotion, and I did not always deal with it well. But it happened just the other day when the engine light came on in my car. Not a steady light either, but a blinking one. Sounds kind of small, right? It's just blinking. Go get it fixed. But as my mechanic husband told me, a blinking engine light is a bad thing. It means effectively get a tow truck and get your car fixed. A steady engine light means that you have a problem, but you might make it to a nearby service center. But I live in the country where you must have a vehicle to do anything. No Ubers. And engine trouble pushes all my buttons because I know nothing about them, nothing at all. Don't know a manifold from a manual transmission, although I can drive a stick, but that's a squirrel. Sorry. And of course, all of this happened the only day of the month I actually had a medical appointment and a time that I had to be somewhere in the larger town a half hour from me. Well, it's a half hour by car. It's about a 15 to 20 hour walk, give or take an hour. So my first call was to the medical clinic to get my appointment rescheduled. Once I could take that off my worry list, I could think about the next steps. So I called my husband, who would have probably helped me if he had been in town, but he wasn't. He was 2 hours away doing some work in a town up north. If you want to feel helpless, find a day when your mechanic husband is not close enough to help in any way when your engine light starts blinking at you. That's when he told me on that phone call that I was right to get out of the car and not get out on the road because the light was blinking and not steady. Oh, did I mention this was during a massive rainstorm that dumped a foot of rain in the area? Yeah, it wasn't exactly walking weather. I'll spare you the details of the next few hours in 13 different phone calls because I counted. And 6 hours later, I had my car back from the service center fixed and running fine. My wallet was lighter, but that emotional swirl had settled long since. In my younger years, I would have melted down in that perfect storm, a problem I didn't understand and couldn't fix even if I did understand it, which meant I couldn't fulfill my obligations. And my emotional support critter, my husband, was more than 70 miles away, and a literal storm was thundering over my head. And look, I do understand how it feels to melt down. In my 20s, I completely wigged out when my car wouldn't start in a car park miles from my home. I was tired and I wanted to go home, and I just bawled like a big old baby. My own change between that time and this really struck me, and that's the metaphor I'm talking about. That's when it occurred to me. I just dealt with things and controlled what I could and let the rest swirl around me. Did what was necessary. Didn't feel that because things around me were occurring in chaotic and upsetting ways, it meant that I had to feel chaotic or upset. I cannot emphasize enough how much this is not who I was when I was younger. I wanted to be this way, but I didn't understand that I wasn't the chaos. I just kept feeding that emotion, and I didn't have to. I didn't know I could stop. And I also realized in thinking about all of this that this is what the Zenkin have always meant by finding your center. And don't worry, I'm not telling you to meditate. I've tried over and over and never been able to. I do find enormous peace in writing and in making things with my hands. But sitting quietly and thinking, yeah, no. Thinking for me generates action, always, even at 1 a.m. this morning. Might be a combination of undiagnosed ADHD and an unrivaled imagination. Perhaps, doesn't matter. I can't meditate. But I've learned that for me, standing in the center of that swirling chaos of emotions, it's my choice of whether to become upset or not. And it brought me a kind of peace through quiet strength. Hard won with age. But here's the deal, I could have learned it earlier, and I think you can too. But the only way I know how to learn it is to practice what I'm preaching. Let the world shake the snow globe all at once. You'll still be there in the center when it settles. Let me know down in the comments if that works for you. And if not, what does work for you? Because after all, I could be wrong about all this, I'm just thinking out loud. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or even just the like, okay? I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.